Well, the official Blizzard YouTube has released a in-game cinematic for Shadowlands 9.2 that will tell the story of Sylvanas in between the two patches. Given the current lore history of this expansion, I'm sure this will in no way be a dumpster fire. Hello everyone, I'm Daxius. I'm a variety streamer over on Twitch, and a little history about my relationship with World of Warcraft. I played the game very frequently for about 15 years. I've only really kind of cooled off on it this year. The title of the video will say that I'm a former WoW player. That's not entirely correct. I do still log in every once in a while, usually to play with my father. But considering the amount I used to play, I'm nowhere near that level at all anymore. Part of the reason is just because of Shadowlands being not up to par, which is now the second expansion in a row that had issues, and that just turned me off playing the game. But probably one of the larger issues has been the lore over the last couple of expansions, and for me, Sylvanas, the character that will be shown in this video, was actually probably my favorite character for most of the time I played World of Warcraft. And in the last couple of expansions, I have greatly disliked the direction they took the character. After the events of the last raid, where she has turned on the jailer and been taken captive by the leaders of both the Horde and the Alliance, I am interested to see what direction they take the character, because I really, really hope it's in a better one than they have been taking her for the last couple of years. So I'm going to watch the cinematic that was released, and we will analyze it a little bit and see what they do to one of my favorite characters.
Sylvanas' soul has been fractured from the moment of her death until now.
Jeez, how big is your hand, bro?
This was their home. And you slaughtered all of them! How could you take all those innocent lives?
Okay, when he said her soul is fractured, I guess we're supposed to be taking that literally? Very literally.
This was beyond life and death. There was no other path to true freedom. How can you not see that? I see what you are. Murderer! Monster! Butcher! Why can I not escape this torment?
Okay, so I don't know if this is what she was doing internally at the moment that Teldrassil was burned, or is this something she's fighting with at the exact moment that we're looking at right here? But if they're saying that her soul was fractured and she was having this internal fight for a while, that feels like something they've kind of tacked on the end. I'll talk more about that later.
The jailer has severed their bond and condemned her to endlessly relive her atrocities.
Okay, so maybe it is
so long as her soul
something that's just going on right
divided,
now.
She cannot wake.
Maybe she shouldn't.
She's the only one who knows the jailer's plan and how we might save Anduin.
She's the one that turned Anduin.
Jaina is right. How can we possibly trust her?
Well, that's my biggest fear with how they've taken this character. Sylvanas was a popular character and a character I loved, but they've made her go so far in the evil direction. I really don't know how they could possibly do a redemption arc that would be okay with everyone. I mean, she basically committed genocide. I don't know who's gonna be like, oh, well, yeah, no, that was just because your soul's messed up. Don't worry, we forgive you. You've killed millions of people, but whatever, we forgive you.
Her wound runs so much deeper than mine.
Okay. Touch my stab wound.
Well met, Ranger General.
The good old days.
What is this? Who are you?
Sorry to interrupt again. This, there's something off about this character model, and I can't really put my finger on it. It's almost like some sort of uncanny valley thing. I don't know. It might just be me. I don't know if anyone else is having this problem, but it might just be me.
You.
Someone who shared your fate, felled by the blade of the very same prince.
Arthas. I died trying to stop that monster.
Best villain the universe ever had.
Haunted by one with my face.
That banshee is you.
No. I cannot accept that.
Her path began where yours ended, and you've seen the decisions she made.
Never in 1,000 lifetimes would I betray everything I stood for. You can't possibly understand.
The jailer is deceptively.
Are they saying that his soul was split?
When I realized I had become his pawn, it nearly destroyed me. He had no doubts it would destroy you as well. Was he right? Or will you accept her shattered legacy and tell us how to stop him?
Her crimes are unforgivable.
Yes.
And she vanished. I must face the consequences.
We cannot change the past, and we may never find forgiveness in the future. But inaction damns us all. Time is short, Ranger General. Make your choice. I've done all I can.
Well, I mean, she's obviously going to accept her fate there. Otherwise, this whole cinematic would be pointless. Oh, her eyes are blue! Really? That's it? Okay. So, that was something. I'm kind of unclear as to what exactly they are saying has happened with Sylvanas, because are they saying after being killed by Arthas that her soul basically split and she's had this sort of internal struggle? Because if she has this really dark side and this really light side, then she as a character would be kind of neutral-ish. But that's not the character that they've built in the last few expansions. She's been just full-blown darkness. So they're going to argue that her redemption will come from the fact that her light side will come back out. But that would imply that throughout the history of World of Warcraft that it hasn't been her per se that we've been dealing with. It's been her dark side that we have been interacting with. But I almost feel like that doesn't make a lot of sense given the entire history of Sylvanas. I know one of the big lore moments for her was after Arthas was killed. She attempted to kill herself by jumping off of Icecrown, if I'm remembering that short story correctly. It's been a number of years, so maybe I'm not. But is that something her dark side would do? That seems like something that someone who's struggled with what she is and then no longer having a purpose would do. But that's not something like evil would do. So that would imply that there's still some of her in there, but if her bright side has been completely pushed off in the last number of years, why did it have the power to make her want to kill herself back then I'm a little confused about that. My worry mostly with this is they're going to do a cop out with this redemption thing. They did it with Grommish, where he turned good at the end, so everything's fine. There's no problem. And I'm really worried that's what they're going to do with her now. That no, her soul is restored, and now she is good, and therefore all the crimes she committed were not her; they were her dark soul. It was her evil twin, and not her, which is lazy. But my bigger fear now, looking at that, is are they just going to kind of butcher the character that I have enjoyed for over a decade now? Because the thing about Sylvanas that I always enjoyed, as somebody who had played Forsaken for the entirety of my my WoW career, was that she was a ruthless, cunning badass, but still someone who was loyal to the Horde. So she was somebody that had no problem, throwing a plague at people in order to win. But was still like on the side of the Horde, wanted to make sure that the Horde persevered, considered everybody her allies in that faction. But part of the reason why she was such a badass is because the darkness that she experienced as being undead allowed her to put aside some of those feelings of guilt you would have in those normal circumstances. So the only way I could see her character not being completely changed into somebody who's completely pure, which is not the Sylvanas I've been hoping to have for the last few years. The only way I see it working is if her two souls now are kind of like combating internally, so she basically has the angel and devil on her shoulder type thing. Because that way, we could still have somebody who's like loyal to the Horde and still has some morality, like Thrall or Saurfang before her, but still have some of that coldness that allows her to be a cunning and ruthless tactician. So maybe that could work, but given how they've written Sylvanas so far and how everyone in the WoW community has basically tried to theory craft a story that in their heads every step of the way that kind of made Sylvanas, not this brutal genocide committing person that Blizzard has written her into. So this way that I see it working is not something I have faith that Blizzard will do, honestly. And I mean, like they've written her into a corner in a sense of they basically just turned her into a full-blown like cartoon villain at this point and made her slaughter an entire race of people, and it's kind of hard to come back from that. So, and I don't believe in their writing ability to try and swing this in a way that makes sense. I mean, the entirety of BFA, they were saying like, oh no, don't worry, she's going to be morally gray. And apparently morally gray meant burning down a tree that had millions of people in it, intentionally causing a war to kill as many people as possible, killing a leader of the Horde that was probably, again, one of the more popular characters in WoW history. Oh yeah, morally gray. Now this is Blizzard. Given everything that we've seen from them recently, their idea of morally white is very questionable, so I guess it shouldn't surprise me that burning down a tree with millions of people in it is morally gray to them. But no, I think I'm just a little worried now of where they're taking the character, and I really loved her as a character and the way that she commanded respect. I mean, the first time I ever ran into her, I had to go through a tunnel guarded by so many elite soldiers to get into a throne room where she's up on a pedestal with a pet demon with her. I mean, like that, you walk into that and I played World of Warcraft with no idea of what the lore of Warcraft 3 was. So all I saw was this, larger than life woman up on a pedestal with a demon as her pet. And I was like, I don't know who you are, but I am terrified of you and I will obey everything you tell me to do. So I just really hope that they can swing this in some way that that can return Sylvanas to what I believe she should have been, which was a, you know, just a badass that still had some measure of honor and loyalty to the Horde. And this split soul thing, that if they combat each other might allow that to happen, but I don't know how much faith I have in that. I guess we have no choice but to wait and see and hope that everything that's happened in the last little while motivates the team at Blizzard to really put their backs into this story. It's all we can hope for at this point. I think that's all I have to say about that for today. If you enjoy the video, be sure to subscribe. Also, check out my Twitch. Link will be in the description if you want to see some of my live streams. As I said, I'm a variety streamer. And I really hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.